ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యా రంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి జేఈఈ అయినా నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
Hello students, for the last class we studied about phloem transport introduction, and we even just studied about how it occurs. We have main part like mass flow, where that part we will discuss later. But coming to this, uptake of mineral ions we discussed, and translocation, we studied about what is called translocation, withdrawing of minerals from the senescent parts and goes to the younger parts. Right, and unloading of mineral elements at veins and vein endings occurs by diffusion and active transport. So that part is very important. That part is very important. So we have one or two previous NEET questions are there. So we just continue with that. Let us continue with. Now let us make it anti-transparence. Let us make it as anti-transparence. Guys, I am just telling you again, make sure that these are very important note points. So make sure that you quickly revise it. Note points are very important. I will write again, endodermis is the one which acts as a control point, or itself is called as a checkpoint. Very important. So again, once we complete even the last part of the lesson, for the next class, once we complete the last part of the lesson, again I will try to give some more important note points which you need extra, and some are as a part of the concepts. So you need some points that I will give you at one corner at last once, so that you can refer all. Right, endodermis act as control point, checkpoint here. It is very important. So it checks the quantity and type of solute. So these kind of statements are very important. It checks the quantity, it will check, and also checks the type of solute. Why? Because you know that endodermis, it is one which contains Casparian strips. We discussed very clearly for the last class. It has a suberant depositions, impermeable to water, and what the pathway occurs is only nothing but symplast. Symplast is active transport. How it occurs? Through plasmadesmata or cytoplasmic streaming. Very important points, need to recollect it. Similarly, apart from the endodermis, when you talk about root absorption of water, when we say the absorption of water, especially in the root, what are the different processes we studied? We should have a clear idea when osmosis occurs, when diffusion occurs, or where diffusion occurs. Right, DPD and this all. DPD itself is also called as what? Suction pressure. Itself is called as what? Suction pressure. This is important. Apart from this, even we just have taken into consideration of leaf. So you have to remember this all points. Again I am explaining because these points are very important. You will just have a, you will just give normal reading in the textbook, but you need to stress these points. So whenever you say that veins and veinlets, so we studied that unloading of mineral elements. When we say mineral elements, unloading of mineral elements occurs at veins and veinlets by the two important processes. Can I know what are they? Diffusion as well as active transport. So very important to remember these things. What are they? Unloading of mineral elements. Sometimes they will give the statement as loading of mineral elements by diffusion and active transport. That is a wrong statement, because you need to have a keen observation on NCERT textual lines. Lines of the textbook are very important. So here unloading, then only diffusion and active transport. In the statement you need to see carefully in assertion and reason questions. Loading of mineral elements means it becomes the loading of mineral elements by diffusion active transport. It becomes a false statement until unless you find unloading. In the statement, if it is unloading, that becomes true statement. And remember the two important processes, diffusion and active transport, very important. Why? Because here unloading of mineral elements takes place. Right, now apart from this, withdrawing of mineral nutrients from the senescent part of the plant. So, here if you look at, this is an old leaf. From the old leaf, all the mineral elements are withdrawn and they will be supplied to the young leaf. So, this is nothing but an young leaf. So, all these are withdrawn and they will be supplied to the young leaf. What mineral elements? Very, very important. Guys, in this we have a previous NEET question. So, you need to stress these points a lot. So, root absorption of water in mineral nutrition chapter also we have the statement. Why I am stressing and writing these points again here? You need to connect both mineral nutrition and transport in plants. In mineral nutrition we have the statement. What is that? Absorption of water is not always by passive transport. It is not always by passive. It may be by active, it may be osmosis, diffusion, suction pressure and all that, right. So, where this all processes happens, you need to have a clear idea in your young mind, then no question can trouble you on the paper, right. Now, so we studied for the last class transpiration, and transpiration is majorly happens with the help of transpiration pull. You know that loss of water through stomata itself is called as transpiration. Loss of water through stomata itself is referred as transpiration. Transpiration happens with the help of transpiration pull, that is upward movement of water, that is what we discussed. Now, in continuation of this, let us talk about anti-transparence. What is anti-transparence? Which prevents the process called transpiration. There are some substances or the compounds which prevents transpiration. So, I write here the compounds or the substances prevents transpiration are called anti-transparence. So, there are some naturally occurring anti-transparents are there. There are some artificially synthetically produced transparents are there. Whatever it may be, when they block the loss of water through stomata, when they prevent water loss, when they make the transpiration not to occur, then they are called as anti-transparents. Now, these anti-transparents, we have few compounds to remember. Let us categorize them into three categories, three types. Let us make them as three categories. Right. Now, let us discuss all three categories. Now, if you take this first one, we call first category are called as metallic inhibitors. First category is referred as what? Metallic inhibitors. In metallic inhibitors, again we can take two important examples. One is we call PMA, other one is called as ABA. ABA, we all know it very well, we studied quite a number of times in the last chapter. Plant growth regulators, we study about ABA. What is ABA? Abscisic acid. ABA, it is nothing but what? Abscisic acid. What is PMA? PMA is nothing but, it is referred as phenyl mercuric acetate. What is PMA? Phenyl mercuric acetate. Now, earlier the people have used this phenyl mercuric acetate as a fungicide. What is a fungicide compound? The compound which kills fungi is generally called as fungicide. So, this is the one which destroys or kills the fungi. We have terminologies like herbicide. Herbicide means which kills herbs. Bactericide, which kills or destroys bacteria. Algicide, which kills and destroys algae. Similarly, we say fungicide. What is a fungicide? A chemical compound or any compound which destroys the fungi. Generally, they are called as what? Fungicide. So, this is used as a fungicide. Earlier people, farmers especially in the fields, when they go for cultivation of crops and cultivation of cereals and pulses, sometimes the plants are being affected by the fungal infections. To kill the fungal infections, earlier times people have used, most commonly used fungicide is nothing but phenyl mercuric acetate, PMA. Now when poor farmer unknowingly, when they spray PMA on the plant surface, it is acting as a anti-transparent. What is the meaning of anti-transparent? Which prevents the process called transpiration. So whenever you take unknowingly, when fungicide is applied to kill the fungi, unfortunately along with the killing and destroying the fungi, here the PMA also acting as a anti-transparent. What is PMA? Phenyl mercuric acetate. In this mercury is there, that is why it will come under metallic inhibitor. Mercury is a metal, right? Metallic inhibitors. Inhibitors means which inhibits transpiration. So most commonly used fungicide by earlier farmers, it was used as a fungicide that is having inhibition on transpiration, PMA, phenyl mercuric acetate. This is one example. Take down another example, ABA, you know it very well, ABA it is called abscisic acid. ABA is also called as, can you just let me know what are the other terminologies, because we studied in the last chapter. ABA is also referred as what? So try to remember, stress hormone, recollect it back, it is also referred as stress hormone, or this is also called as a natural anti-transparent. Very important. Natural anti-transparent itself is referred as a stress hormone. Why? Because you know that K plus ion, when K plus ion enters inside the guard cells, it causes opening of stomata. When K plus goes out of the guard cell, it causes closing of stomata. Why ABA is also called stress hormone? When there is a stress water logging, when there is a scarcity of water in summer season in the ponds and lakes, when water is totally dry up, right, that creates water stress condition. At that time what happens? Plant naturally it synthesizes its own hormone called abscisic acid. Now it is a stress hormone. It causes forceful closing of stomata. As it causes forceful closing of stomata, it is called stress hormone. It released under water stress, it makes the closing of stomata, it is called stress hormone. What happens when a forceful closing of stomata takes place? There is no transpiration. So plant itself it synthesizes abscisic acid. Whenever plant is in water stress condition, whenever there is a scarcity of water or lack of water, that is why the plant synthesizes abscisic acid. That is why it is called natural anti-transparent. What abscisic acid will do? Abscisic acid causes K plus, causes, it will send, better you make the meaningful statement here, causes permeability of K plus out of guard cells, thereby responsible for closing of stomata. Where it is responsible for closing of stomata, it is called an anti-transparent. Guys, you remember for the last class we said when K plus goes out, what happens? It causes closing of stomata. It causes closing of stomata. Who is responsible here? Abscisic acid. Remember cytokinin causes opening of stomata, abscisic acid causes closing of stomata. So both will come under metallic inhibitors. Let us go with the second category. Now if you look at the second category, we have surface coatings or surface waxy layer coatings. Generally we find artificially in the environment when we spray different type of chemicals. they form the layer or the waxy coating on the surface of the plants. Let us take that as a second most important factor, as an important anti-transparent. Let us go to the second category. So, where were we in the discussion? First one is metallic inhibitors. Let us go with the second one, surface coatings. What do we find surface coatings? In this case we can write low viscosity, a waxy layer, low viscosity waxy layer, or sometimes silicone emulsions. Apart from this, even you can take resins, or you can take colorless resins. What are these things? If you look at low viscosity waxy layer, low viscosity waxy layer also comes from the application of pesticides and bactericides. Generally, you know, farmers, they will go with the application of pesticides, nothing but the spray of chemicals on the surface of the plant, or we can take insecticides. The chemicals which destroys the insect are the most applied frequent chemicals to kill the pest or to kill the insect. So, whenever the farmers spray the pesticides and insecticides, what happens? Unknowingly on the surface of the plant, if you look at, suppose if you take this is a leaf, you can take this is a leaf. On the surface of the leaf we can see a thin film layer. Insecticide or the pesticide what is applied here? Low viscosity waxy layer, meaning it forms a thin film on the surface of the leaf. When it forms as a thin film layer on the surface of the leaf or leaf we say, what happens that film layer? That layer, so I write here thin film layer, better you can write completely on the surface of leaf. So, whenever there is pesticides and insecticides are sprayed on the surface of the leaf or on the plant, especially they form low viscosity waxy layer, viscosity meaning not so thick, low viscosity, very thin fluid layer, a thin transparent layer, that is viscosity, low viscosity, very thin transparent waxy layer. Waxy means little slightly like wax, right, like somewhat like a fluid, right. So, when you take this layer, it forms the thin film layer on the surface of the leaf. When it forms as a thin film layer, what happens? Then stomata gets covered by the thin film layer, then there is no loss of water. So, you can say no loss of water. When there is no loss of water, we can say no transpiration. No transpiration. So, it acts as a anti-transparent. Similarly, silicone emulsions. You know, silicone emulsions are most commonly like in paints and all that. Whenever painting is done and free radicals will be released out, they may get settled on the surface of the plant. They are also responsible for preventing transpiration. So, we can also take silicone emulsions also as anti-transparent. Similarly, colorless resins, even the use of colorless resins also in the paints and also in the preparation of some different chemicals like the same like herbicides, pesticides, insecticide, these all are nothing but the chemicals. Of course, their formulations are different, each chemical is different in its composition, but ultimately what they all do here is they come under surface coatings. As they come under surface coatings here, generally all three are responsible for making the stomata to get close and avoiding transpiration. So, generally these three come under surface coatings and they act as what? Anti-transparent. Then coming to the other category, so we can take other one. The third one is other compounds. Apart from this, we can take other compounds. Under other compounds, we can write the two important things. One is called as an aspirin and other one as carbon dioxide. Now if you look at in opening and closing of stomata, we know it very well, carbon dioxide plays very important role. Guys, it was a previous NEET question, very important. In the previous NEET paper, we have a question on carbon dioxide. Remember, during daytime causes opening of stomata, during night time closing of stomata. At that time we mentioned low levels of carbon dioxide, high levels of carbon dioxide. That means carbon dioxide is an important factor in making the closing of stomata or an opening of stomata. So here carbon dioxide in certain cases also act as anti-transparent. So carbon dioxide also act as a factor, it also act as anti-transparent. Along with that, remember other compound like aspirin. Aspirin also has the ability to make the forceful closing of stomata. So both are nothing but anti-transparent. We have the previous NEET questions on carbon dioxide acting as anti-transparent. It was a previous NEET question. Make sure that guys you remember. Very important. Now let me quickly revise it once again. What are anti-transparents? The compounds or substances which prevents transpiration are called anti-transparents. Some are metallic inhibitors. For example, PMA and ABA. Phenyl mercuric acetate, it is used as a fungicide which destroys the fungi. What is ABA? Abscisic acid. It is also called as stress hormone or also called natural anti-transparent, which causes permeability of K+ out of the God cells and responsible for closing of stomata. Apart from this, surface coatings generally they act as anti-transparents like low viscosity waxy layer, silicone emulsions, resins. When they coated on the surface of the leaf or any part of the plant, they also act as anti-transparents as they form thin film layer obstructing the stomata not to lose water. So they act as anti-transparents. Apart from this, other compounds we can take aspirin, carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is also an important factor. Sometimes it acts as an anti-transparent and regulates opening and closing of stomata. And very important, try to remember this is for the final NEET. Earlier it came as one of the question in the final NEET, especially carbon dioxide we have some good questions. Effect of carbon dioxide on opening and closing of stomata, that one aspect you have to remember. Another aspect in terms of final NEET you have to remember, carbon dioxide is also act as a anti-transparent, right. Let us continue further. Factors affecting transpiration. Factors affecting transpiration. The factors which influence the process called transpiration. Which factors affect the transpiration? Factors affecting the transpiration. Let us classify the factors which affect the impact on transpiration into two categories. One we say external factors. Let us take other one as internal factors. Now let us talk about external factors. So if you take the external factors, in this case what not, there are so many like, the first and foremost important one is temperature. You know, externally temperature plays very important role. Transpiration is nothing but loss of water. Generally we say whenever there is an increase in temperature, it increases rate of transpiration. T is nothing but what? Transpiration. Whenever the temperature is keep increasing, So, if you look at in the morning or in the afternoon, whenever you look at morning to afternoon, there is an increase in temperature, that definitely increases the rate of transpiration. You know everyone, the temperature is directly proportional to transpiration. Let us take the second important factor which influences transpiration is obviously light. Now, light affects two things. One is leaf temperature. I am saying light affects leaf temperature as well as closing of, opening and closing of stomata. Let us see now, when you take the light generally it affects the two important factors whenever you take the sunlight. Of course, we already have studied in opening and closing of stomata. Whenever sunlight is there during daytime, there is an opening of stomata, and then during night time there will be closing of stomata. So, when you take opening and closing of stomata, you know one of the important factor is light. You know that why it is related means opening of stomata causes transpiration, closing of stomata causes anti-transpiration, meaning it stops transpiration. So, light plays an important role in two important aspects. One is called leaf temperature. You remember whenever the leaf is losing water, you remember whenever transpiration increases. So, whenever transpiration occurs or whenever transpiration rate increases, when transpiration increases, you know that we studied cooling of leaf surface, or we say surface of leaf. Did you remember whenever surrounding the leaf, so this is the leaf, stomata is here. From the stomata what is happening? There is a loss of water. When there is a loss of water, this is what is called transpiration. When there is a loss of water occurs through stomata, what happened to the surrounding surface area of the leaf? In the surrounding surface area of the leaf, temperature decreases. You all know it very well. Temperature decreases. That means when light is more, no doubt leaf temperature causes increase in rate of transpiration, but ultimately that reduces the temperature surrounding the leaf. So, it causes what is called cooling of leaf surface. So, sometimes what happens is, especially whenever plant exposes to blue light drives out K plus out of God cells and causes closing of stomata and causes what? Closing of stomata. Whenever the with GR we have, whenever the plant get exposed to blue light and blue light drives out K plus out of the God cell, it will throw the K plus out of the God cell and responsible for closing of stomata. So, light is a factor which affects the two important aspects. One is leaf temperature, other one is nothing but opening and closing of stomata. Now, next apart from this, let us take atmospheric pressure. Now, this atmospheric pressure, remember, it is inversely proportional to rate of transpiration. Inversely proportional to rate of transpiration, but that too in certain cases, not in all cases. Atmospheric pressure is one of the external factor that influences transpiration. Atmospheric pressure inversely proportional to rate of transpiration. In certain processes, in some processes, mostly it is inversely proportional. What is the meaning of that? Whenever there is an increase in atmospheric pressure, there is a decrease in transpiration. When there is a decrease in atmospheric pressure, there is an increase in transpiration. In most of the cases, it is inversely proportional. Generally, we say the plants grow in hilly areas generally exhibits xerophytic adaptation. Generally exhibits xerophytic adaptation. So, why do we say it is inversely proportional? As you, whenever you take the hilly areas, as you go higher to the mountain, generally the plant exhibits a xerophytic condition. Why? Because atmospheric pressure is inversely proportional to transpiration. As you go higher, rate of transpiration decreases. Rate of transpiration decreases as atmospheric pressure increases, and the efficiency of getting water is also very less. That is the reason why they exhibit what is called xerophytic condition. Xerophytic plants, they minimizes rate of transpiration. So, plants grow in hilly areas, generally they exhibit xerophytic adaptation. Then continue writing down, let us take some more factors. Let us take the next factor as atmospheric humidity. Atmospheric humidity directly proportional to a rate of transpiration, that is when humidity is more, this is also inversely proportional, you can take, this is also inversely proportional. Whenever atmosphere has more humidity, more moisture content is there, the rate of transpiration decreases, this is inversely proportional. Whenever humidity is less, transpiration rate increases, inversely proportional, but take it as a inversely proportional, that is 1 by transpiration, right. Then similarly we can take wind velocity. Wind velocity is directly proportional to rate of transpiration. More is the wind, it has more is the rate of transpiration. Less is the wind velocity, less is the rate of transpiration. So, all these 5 factors come under external factors. Let us see external factors. So, if you take temperature, increase in temperature causes increase in rate of transpiration, that we know, it is a very common thing. Light is also one of the external factor. It affects 2 aspects. One is leaf temperature, that is whenever you take when there is an increase in transpiration, that in turn returns to cooling of leaf surface area, and opening and closing of stomata. Whenever plant exposes to blue light, it drives out K plus out of the God cells and causes closing of stomata. Coming to atmospheric pressure, inversely proportional to rate of transpiration. That is the reason why plants grow in hilly area, generally they exhibit xerophytic condition. Then atmospheric humidity is also inversely proportional to rate of transpiration. Early in the morning, late in the night, in guttation we studied root pressure. Early in the morning you can see water droplets on the surface of the leaf, it is because atmosphere has more humidity moisture content. It will not take water from the leaf stomata, whatever water is there that will fall on the leaf surface, you can see the droplets. So, we studied what is called guttation, exudation and all that, right. So, when humidity is more, transpiration is less, when humidity is less, transpiration is more. Similarly, wind velocity, if you take that, directly proportional to rate of transpiration. If more wind velocity is there, rate of transpiration is higher. When less wind velocity is there, rate of transpiration is less. So, this all will come under what are called external factors. Now, let us talk about internal factors. Now, if you look at internal factors, we say number of stomata on leaf and distribution of stomata, along with that we can also write percentage of stomata opened, If you take generally the factors, number of stomata, how many number of stomata are present and where they are present, number of stomata, that means transpiration directly depends upon, you can write here, transpiration depends upon internal factors such as depends upon, what are the depends upon, number of stomata, more is the number of stomata, more is the rate of transpiration, less is the number of stomata, less is the rate of transpiration. Then distribution of stomata, you know, if you take in case of dorsiventral leaf, For example, in case of dicot leaf, you know it very well, lower epidermis contain more number of stomata than upper epidermis. For example, if you take isobilateral leaf, what we take monocot leaf. Monocot leaf generally we call isobilateral. That means distribution of stomata both on upper epidermis and lower epidermis is same. That means isobilateral we call. Monocot leaf we call isobilateral. Upper epidermal number of stomata is equal to the number of stomata present in lower epidermis. That is why it is called isobilateral, equal distribution of stomata both adaxial and abaxial epidermis. So, transpiration also depends upon how stomata is distributed. For example, if you take dicot leaf, dorsiventral leaf, what you find? Upper epidermis has less number of stomata, or sometimes stomata is totally absent when compared with the lower epidermis. That is dorsiventral leaf we studied, right? Similarly, percentage of stomata open, maybe there are 10 stomata on the epidermis, but what is the use if all 10 are not functional, right? So, it also depends upon, even though there are many stomata, but in that how many number of stomata is open and doing the function called transpiration. This is also one of the factor which decides the rate of transpiration. These 3 points related to stomata, because transpiration occurs through stomata. In that number of stomata, how many are there, how they are distributed, and in that how much percentage of stomata participated in transpiration. Now, apart from this, other factor is, so let me take here like A, B, C, D, then the next factor is, you know, soil water availability. Soil water availability, meaning here, suppose if soil has more water, definitely it give more water to the plant, plant loses more water by transpiration. If the availability of water is very poor or very less in the soil, soil cannot provide much water to the plant, automatically it decreases the rate of transpiration. So, it also depends upon the content of water available in the soil. Then apart from this, even you can take plant canopy. Even you can take the factor called plant canopy. What is plant canopy? Sometimes in the forest you can see there are huge trees are present. So, there are very huge trees are present. When overlap, one plant branches, they fully overlap on the other plant branches, then what happens to the smaller plants here? So, the smaller plants cannot get exposed to the sunlight, they cannot get exposed to the sunlight, thereby it decreases the rate of transpiration. Transpiration rate decreases. Why? The plants which are present, the smaller plants, what you find them? They are in thick canopy. What is the thick canopy here? All the plant branches, they overlap one above the other. These plant branches, they get overlap on the other plant branches. So, all branches when they overlap one above the other, lower plants may not get sufficient amount of sunlight, that decreases the rate of transpiration. If no thick canopy, plant transpiration increases. So, it also depends upon plant canopy. Then followed by, we have what is called as stomatal frequency. Stomatal frequency. What is meant by stomatal frequency? This will continue our discussion, we will continue this discussion. I hope internal factors you all followed, number of stomata, how they are distributed, distribution of stomata, percentage of stomata open, what is the amount of water available in the soil, formation of thick canopy or thin canopy of the plant, and let us come to the last factor. This we will continue, stomatal frequency. So, here what is meant by stomatal frequency? Let us discuss that. So, here apart from this stomatal frequency, we also have root shoot ratio is also there. So, if we can discuss both, we can complete the factors, especially internal factors. So, what are the two things we have to continue our discussion? So, let us take other one as root shoot ratio. What is the other one? Root shoot ratio. So let us take